Hello, everyone. Welcome to Taja Summer Camp 2020. And this is the first class in the summer camp for astronomy and space science. And I think on Taja platform at this level, we are doing summer camp. I'm very happy to announce that already just in the 2 days of announcing this, we have more than 125 kids registered already, and we kept the registration open for more people to join in because it's only there for the last 2 days. And we also have second class of astronomy next weekend. And also we have 2 art classes in the art camp for the next weekend. And we also have chess classes coming up. So it's very exciting. And we wanted to make sure from our committee standpoint, 2020-21 committee, we wanted to open doors for the young generation of creators. And with that said, Suresh Gudumetlagaru, he's our VP of operations, and he came up with this idea because kids are really getting bored with everything going on out there with the pandemic and, all their education being done from home. So we thought we could help this out from Taja platform. And Bharat Garu immediately agreed, to do this camp. And I would like to thank Bharat Garu on here coming forward, helping Taja kids. And also, Suresh Gudumetla Garu here, who came up with this idea, and he'll be running this class. And also Lata Kota Garu and Srinivas Ravi Garu, both are the youth committee chairs. And Lata Garu is actively working on this event, trying to send emails. And because we have tremendous response and getting 125 kids and more than 125 kids being registered just in the 2 days, that shows how much work in the 2 days we have to put together, sending emails and everything. And we're expecting a lot more kids in the next classes. And thanks a lot again, and welcome to the Summer Camp 2020 from Taja. So I give it over to Suresh Garu to take over from here.
Thank you, Papa Ragaru. Welcome everybody, all the kids. I know you guys are pretty bored, so hopefully our small attempt for keeping you engaged.
Just an interruption, just put you in the spotlight so that you're visible to everybody.
You would have to do that, Papa Ragaru.
Yes, you're on. Go ahead.
Okay. So welcome again. Thanks for signing up, and we're looking forward for a great summer camp activities here as part of the astronomy and space science. Jacksonville, Northeast Florida in general is going to be becoming a space hub pretty soon because of all the successful launches with SpaceX and all that stuff. So we thought that this would be a great exposure to kids who would be interested in becoming the future astronauts, future astronomers, etc. So having said that, a few rules. People who are joining just now, we just want to let you know that we are recording this session so that this can be used for publishing to our Taja TV in the future. So just wanted to give you a heads up. Some more rules here. We will keep all the kids even muted. Any questions that the kids may have, we encourage them to type it in the chat window. Because of the number of kids, about 125 kids will be joining this. So we would like to ensure that the session goes on without any disturbances or anything like that. We will accommodate all the questions, try to accommodate all the questions. Please type your questions in the chat window, and we will get to those questions at the end of the session. Having said that, thank you again for joining. With this, I give it over to Bharat Mutyala Garu, who will be who's going to give us a lot more information about what is astronomy, what is space camp, and what's going on. Bharat Garu, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Suresh, and thank you, Papa Rao Garu, for giving this opportunity. Hi, kids. I think they're muted, right? So, yeah, Yeah. My name is Bharat Mutiala. I am NASA's I'm solar system ambassador. So I go to schools and other communities like our Taja community and other places and talk about astronomy, space, anything related to space and NASA activities. Today we just talk about what can we see in the night sky. So when you see in the night sky, what can you see? Stars, planets, asteroids, comets, even everything, all the galaxies, lot of fascinating things. I think you have seen a lot of them in the pictures, but I will try to help you to identify in the sky, night sky. Then you'll be more excited, right? So you read a lot about the Saturn rings, but have you seen them in the real sky? We can see that actually. So if you train that, if you learn how to see a Saturn, how to find a Saturn in the night sky, that will be very interesting, right? So you can find that in the night sky among all the stars. And if you have a small telescope or binoculars, you can see the Saturn rings also. It's not that big, so you can see them. So I'll teach you like how to find those, how to identify those constellations, how to identify the stars, how to identify the planets from the stars, right? So how many planets we have? 8 planets we have. So yeah, we have 8 planets. Pluto is no more a planet, right? It's a dwarf planet. So we have 8 planets. Out of 8 planets, how many planets we can see in the night sky? Only 5 planets we can see in the night sky without any telescope, right? Mercury we can see. Venus. Venus is the brightest object in the night sky, right? You can easily find. Recently, until like June, every day in the evening, it was very bright in the evening skies. Now it's not there. Where it has gone? It's now in the morning sky. So if you know these constellations and the planets, where do they rise and set, you learn all those things. So now it's daytime, right? When you go out and see, you can't see any star in the night in the sky. What happened to all those stars? The stars are still there, but still because of our sunlight, sun is very bright, right? So we can't see the stars. So imagine I have a globe here. So you can see the globe here, right? So can you see the in the center you can see Earth, and all this is our globe. This is where all the stars are there. All the planets and stars are all there. We are in the center and watching these stars. So that's the reason we can see some stars which are here, but the down which goes beneath our Earth, we can't see them. And they come back again when the sun sets. They will come back. This is how the whole celestial sphere goes. Actually, the celestial sphere itself is constant. It's not moving. The Earth in the center, you see the Earth in the center, right? That itself is moving from west to east. That's why you see all the stars rising in the east. All the stars rising in the east and setting in the west. All the planets rising in the east and setting in the west. That's how you can see. So to identify these constellations, we need to find some basic things. So I'll tell you. So when you go out and watch the night sky, what do we need to see? First thing, when you go on, see, you need the navigation. Like, where are you looking? Are you looking towards east or west or north or south? So in the daytime, how do you find the directions? So with the cell phone nowadays, we have the GPS, right? We have the compass here. We can find that north or east. But think of the people, the ancient people, they don't have any instruments. Still, they could able to tell the directions, time and everything with the help of stars. So in the evening or in the daytime, how do you find the directions? You look towards east, sun. In the morning, when the sun rises in the east, right? It rises in the east and goes and sets in the west. I'll share the screen. I'll share a screen where you can see the stars.
Bharat Garu, while you're doing that, just wanted to quickly announce for people who are joining just now, just let you know that we are recording this session. Number one. Number two, if you have any questions, please keep them coming in the chat window. and we will get to those questions at the end of the session. Thank you.
Suresh, can you give me feedback? Like, are they able to hear my voice and everything fine?
I think I'm able to hear it, so I think, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's clear.
Clear. Okay. So this is how the celestial sphere we can see in the sky. This is how we can see, identify the stars and planets with
We're
the
not
help of
seeing it at Bharat Garu. We're only seeing the Windows Explorer with a
Windows Explorer. Okay.
typical.
I share the difference. I share the different screen. Okay. I think now you can see, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you can see here, right? East, this is the east and this is the west. So all the stars, all the planets, everything rises here in the east and sets in the west. So you have to look for the sun, and where the sun rises, that's where your east. I mean, it's not exactly east. So I'll give an assignment for all your kids. I'll send you in a mail also. Tonight or tomorrow morning, look at the east sun in your neighborhood and just draw a diagram where you're in your background where the sun is rising. So you can see the sun is not exactly rising in the east. So you see this line, right? This is how the sun and all the planets will going today. So it's not exactly here. It's towards, yeah, it's towards north or south. So you have to find that how far it's away from the east. So if you just do a diagram with your background, or take a picture, ask your parents to take a picture of the sun. It's rising, where exactly it is rising now, and you can see after 1 month again take a picture from the same place. You will find the difference. Sun is not exactly rising, it's keep on moving, right? On the June 21st, you know what is the importance of June 21st? That is a summer solstice, means the highest day on that day. Just like 15 days back, June 21st, that was the highest day. I mean, like there was more day, like 14 hours or 15 hours, and less night. That's the summer, mid of summer. That's why the sun went almost to the north, from east around 23 degrees from the east. And the same thing, while setting also, it will go towards the south, northwest. So you can see the difference yourself. That's one exercise. I will send the details. But yes, this with the help of sun, you can say it's rising in the east and setting in the west. So how about in the night time? What happens in the night time? How do you find the directions? If you don't have a compass, the ancient people, they don't have compass, right? When they're in the forest, or the sailors, when they go on the ships, they don't have a compass. So how do they find the directions? With the help of stars. So which star will help you in the identifying the directions? The famous North Star. Have you heard about North Star or Dhruvatara? In India, we call Dhruvatara or Dhruv or North Star or North Pole Star. Where is this here? It's here. Exactly. Yeah, it's here almost. Actually, I'll change this sky a little bit so that you can see this north here. Yeah, now you can see, right? So the earlier was not our sky, so I just logged in with my name so that it exactly sets to the Jacksonville sky. So in the Jacksonville, we can see the Polaris North Star here. So how do you find this North Star or Dhruvatar or Pole Star? We call this North Star, right? So this one will give you exactly the where you're north. That's how you will find the North Star. So to help that, there is a one constellation here. I think everybody is familiar with this constellation. Ursa Major, Big Dipper, the Saptarishi Mandal. In India, we call this Saptarishi Mandal, named after 7 rishis. In your school, you call this Ursa Major constellation. In the scientific name for is Ursa Major or the Big Dipper, Big Bear, all the names. So it's very easy to identify. Tonight, after this class over, tonight, the sky is very clear today, luckily. Every day is almost every day it was raining, right, in the Florida, but today it's clear. So try to look in the evening. You'll find these 7 stars very clearly, easily. Anybody can find these stars, provided you have a very good sky. Like go to a place where it's dark, not near the somebody. So not near the street lights. You will see these bright stars, which are called Saptarishis. So join these 2 stars. You'll go to this North Star, Polaris, or the Dhruvatara. So easy, right? It's very easy. These 2 bright stars, join them, and you'll go here. This is North Star. This will be around 18 degrees above your horizon. So in Jacksonville, the latitude is 18 degrees. That's why you can see it's 28 degrees. Sorry, 28 degrees. So you can see about 28 degrees from this north horizon, the North Star. That's how you find the north direction. Once you find the north, your back is south, your right is east, and the west is left is west. This is how you find the directions in the night time. So to start with any sky photography or anything sky watching, you need to find the directions, because somebody says that go look at the star which is in the east. Where is the east? You have to find that east with the help of this North Star. Once you find this North Star, all others are easy. Somebody kids are drawing on this. So these Saptarishis names, you know, Krutu, Pulaha, there are 7 Saptarishis, and this miser, you saw this star, right? This is called Vashishta. I think some kids are drawing on this.
Hey kids, somebody who's drawing on it, can you undo it, please? Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, we have the Vashishta Rishi here. Vashishta next to is Arundhati. We can see here. These stars are very popular in India, and here also the Saptarishis. So this is how the modern scientists also using the same constellations. So you in elementary school you studied about the constellations, right? So these are the constellations. This area, this whole area we call Ursa Major or the Big Dipper. So based on this shape, this is like a Big Dipper shape or the Big Bear shape. That's why it's called Big Dipper or the Big Bear or the Ursa Major. And all the stars, the brightest star in it is called Alpha, Ursa Major, Beta, Gamma, right? So each star, in every star will have a name. So this constellation is Ursa Major constellation area. The next one, this is Ursa Minor constellation. Like that, each area, this is Cassiopeia. Like that, all the area in the sky is divided into constellations. There are 88 constellations in the sky. So each star, all the stars we look in the night sky is divided into 88 constellations. We may not see all the 88 constellations, but several of them we can see in the night time. So this, once you find this, you find other constellations very easily. So you see planets also, right here. Planet Venus is there here. So this will around this sky I set up for, what time I set up? July 12th is 1 o'clock in the 1 o'clock. So we'll change that in the night. So this is 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, the sky will look like this. So this is how the sky changes, and the Ursa Major, now it went here. It was here, right, earlier. So at 9 o'clock in the night, it will be like here. So you can see these stars, join this, and the Polaris, it will see. So tonight, actually, is very important. Tonight, if you go here, after a sunset, if you look somewhere near here, you can see a comet also. It's a very rare opportunity, comet Neowise. Have you heard about comet? comet we call in Telugu Tokachuka. It's recently a comet came. Very rarely those comets are visible to the naked eye. Means without telescope you can see that opportunity came this month only. Several people are watching and recording in the morning skies, but within 3 or 4 days, or even today also we can see in the night time, evening skies. So it will be somewhere here after between this Ursa Major constellation towards northwest. This is west, right? This is northwest. Somewhere here you can see that comet today. So watch that. You can easily find that. Ask your parents to help. And there are astronomy apps also. I heard about the apps in the mobile phone. You have the Star Walk, Star Guide. Lot of astronomy apps are available. Ask your parents just to download one app. It will not be costly, like $2 or $3. You'll get a beautiful app, and that once you add that app on your phone, hold your phone like this, and then you can easily find these constellation names. You can easily find the constellation names, stars names, the planets names, everything you can find them. So here we have the Jupiter and Saturn also. So this will rise in the east like this. Jupiter and Saturn, they are very close, so easily find. And then they are the whole night, so it's rising around 9 o'clock, right? So the whole night it will go like this, and early morning they will set this. So very great opportunity in these during these days, because the whole night you can see the Jupiter and Saturn. So very easily to identify. Look at towards the east, you'll find Jupiter is a very bright star. So brighter than all the stars, Jupiter will be brighter. So after Jupiter, I mean brighter than Jupiter is Venus. So Venus is not there in the sky. This will come in the morning, but in the evenings you'll see Jupiter, and close to the Jupiter is Saturn. So if you see Jupiter with a small telescope, you'll see 4 moons also. You know, Jupiter has several satellites, or the moons. Our Earth has just one satellite, right? That's moon, our moon. Like Jupiter has several moons, 15 to 17, or there are a lot of moons. They found new moons also. But out of those several moons, around 4 moons are very big, like our moon size. So we can see 4 moons around this Jupiter with a small telescope. You can take those pictures also. They're very nice. So those are called Galilean satellites, because Galileo, you know, Galileo is the one who first discovered the telescope, right? So with that Galileo, he could able to see those 4 satellites. That's why they are named after him, Galilean satellites. And for the Saturn, you can see Saturn rings. And other constellations depends on the various shapes. You can see here a question mark, like an inverted question mark. You see the question mark right here. So this is called the Leo constellation. So you can easily find this Leo constellation, or the Simha Rashi we call. And the brightest star in this is Regulus star. So there are easy ways to find all the stars. Nobody can just look at the stars and cannot tell the constellation names or the star names. With the help of other constellations or other stars, we can find. It's just like navigating in your car. When you are going in a car, how do you find the directions in the streets? With the help of some big buildings, you will say that, right? It's close to this big building, and then we go there. Or your GPS will tell. Same thing here. If you have star charts, and then if you find the bright star next to that, what is the bright star, or next to other constellation, you will find those constellations. Or if your apps will work like a GPS and will explain you or tell you what is the constellation name and other things. So this is the Ursa Major, right? Ursa Major, join this, and then you can find the North Star, and this is Ursa Minor. So there is a one curve like this, these 3 stars in a curved shape, right? This Ursa Major. So join those 3 stars and you will reach a bright star here. This is called Arcturus. It's in a Buddhist constellation. Have you heard about Swati Nakshatram? So this is that Swati. So join this curve, you'll find this Arcturus or Swati Nakshatram. And then in the south, you will see a beautiful, easily identified constellation. This is called Scorpion. It's like a shape of a Scorpio. It's called Scorpion. So this is about the constellations. I don't know how many kids you're following. So Suresh, we want to have some questions in between, so that how they are following, and then I can explain about the planets.
Bharat garu, yeah, can you tell what a constellation is for the young kids who are here, so that they can understand more about what we are talking? The older kids understand, they heard about it, but what
Yeah.
is a constellation?
So constellation, you see a shape right here. Here, if you take this constellation, this star, this is like a question mark. Or ancient people, they saw a lion here. Can you see a lion shape here? It's like a lion head here. This constellation. So you can see that question, inverted question mark is like a lion shape head, and then the lion body and the star tail, right? So it appears like a lion. I mean, these images, these are just imaginary objects. People thought that, think that, oh, it will be like this shape. They call this Leo constellation, and this is coming from the ancient people, like tradition to one generation to another generation. It's passed on, and then even now the present generation, we are also following the same method and say, okay, this area is called Leo constellation. All the stars belongs to this area is a Leo constellation, but it's not a physical group. These stars are very far from each other. One star, this regular star may be 100 light years, this may be 150 light years from us, but they appear to be like a group. And then for our convenience, we say that, oh, this is a Leo group, and then we call it a Leo constellation. So it's a group of stars. It's not physical group, but just imaginary objects. We imagine that there is a shape in that. That shape is called a Leo shape. That's why it's called a Leo constellation. So the brightest star in this Regulus, the scientific name for this Regulus is Alpha Leo. So the brightest is Alpha, next the Beta, Gamma, and the numbers. So like that, the scientists are also using the same names. So this constellation, imaginary things coming from thousands of years and different civilizations. Like here we call Leo, and in India also we call Simharashi. Leo means lion, same as Simharashi. So it's coincidentally all over, all the civilizations almost followed the same thing, and they have the same, almost similar images. Some constellations may have different, slightly different, but most of the constellations have the same imaginary objects we imagined, different civilizations. So in India we call Simharashi. Here we call the Leo constellation, and the brightest star is Regulus. In Indian star name for Regulus is Magha Nakshatram. We call it Magha. So these constellations are 88 constellations. Out of these 88 constellations, you see this line, right? So this is the path of sun and all the planets. All the planets, sun and moon appears to be going around this line only. This called ecliptic path. So those constellations which are called 12 constellations are our zodiac signs. So zodiac signs are nothing but they are also constellations, but there are only 12 constellations where sun, moon, and all the planets appears to go around this constellation. So there is an astrological importance that we don't want to talk to here, but astronomically they are just other, like other constellations. They are also constellations. So like that, the stars are divided into 88 constellations, and with the help of that constellations we find, because these are helpful, like Jupiter. So if you say, where is a Jupiter? If somebody asks, where is Jupiter? I can easily say this is a Sagittarius constellations. So now in this month, it's in Sagittarius constellations. Next year, it may go to this Scorpion constellation. Why I said next year? Because Saturn takes 30 years to make one revolution around the sun. So almost around 2.5 years, it will be here in this constellation only. And the next year, it may be here. Jupiter takes 12 years to make one revolution around the sun. So every month, every year, it will be one in one constellation. The other planets, Mercury, Venus, they go very fastly. So where can you see the Venus? It's not here, but if you go, I'll move my sky to, this is 9 o'clock sky. It's in 21 hours, right? So I'll move this to 10, 11. This is midnight. Around 1 o'clock, I think Mars is rising. You see the Mars rising here, sir? See, Mars is rising here, and Jupiter, Saturn is almost trying to set. So if within 3-4 hours, they will set. So this is how the whole sky will change. When you see the stars in the evening, when the sun sets at 9 o'clock, whatever stars you see, they will set by morning 4 o'clock. They will all be setting in the west, and some new stars will. So how many stars you can see in the night sky? So people try to say millions of stars, but not millions. Actually, we can see around 4,500 stars only. All other stars, to see other stars, we have to see, use a binoculars or a telescope. So with your naked eye, without any optical aids, we can see around 4,500 stars all over the world. So some of the stars you can see in the southern hemisphere. So the North Star we saw this year, right? North Star or Pole Star. This star, it depends on where you are seeing. So Jacksonville, we can see here. If you go to poles like Greek, Greenland or somewhere in the Ireland place, you can see the North Star here. So it will be in the exact above your head, and all the stars will appear to rise, go around like this. And if you go to North,
sorry, my son wants to ask a question.
go ahead.
Sorry.
With your naked eye, you can see that much stars, but with the telescope and some other space objects, you can see around 100 billion stars.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, with your naked eye, without any telescope or binoculars, just around 4,500. But if you have a huge telescope with you, you can see billions of stars in our Milky Way galaxy. And there are billions of galaxies like our Milky Way. So whatever we see, all the stars, whatever see with telescopes, all the stars belongs to our Milky Way, our galaxy. We call it the Milky Way. So there are several millions of other Milky Way galaxies like other galaxies. So they have different names. Like our nearest galaxy is Andromeda Galaxy. That itself have billions of stars.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. So I told this is Polaris North Star, right? So with the help of Ursa Major, find that. So Ursa Major is set now. You don't see Ursa Major here. See? So this is around what time it is? It's around 2 o'clock in the morning. You can't see the Ursa Major. So how do you find the North Star? There is another constellation. You see a shape here, W shape, W or M. It's like if you convert this, turn this, it looks like a small kid writing W shape here. This is a W or M. It's called Cassiopeia. It's also Cassiopeia is the queen of Ethiopia. It's named after the Ethiopian queen Cassiopeia. So if you find this Cassiopeia constellation and join the 3 stars, make an angle here, the angle bisector will leads to North Star. So if you find Ursa Major, you find Polaris in the summertime mostly, but in the winter time, this constellation will come mostly help you to find the Polaris or North Star. So this is for us. What about if you go to New Zealand or Australia? It's in the southern hemisphere, right? So you can't see some of these stars here. They can see some new stars on the south pole like this. They will have more stars. So they can't see North Star or North Pole. That's why it's called North Star or North Polaris or Polaris. So they can't see this one. They have different star to find their South Pole because they are in the southern hemisphere, right? So they can't see all these stars here in the north. They'll see different stars. Any questions on these constellations? So
if you have any questions, kids, just type it in the chat window and we will get to those questions.
Yep. And then I will also ask Suresh to send it to draw a constellation. Each one of you kid at least pick one constellation, your favorite constellation, and draw that and send us. If you have time, I think Suresh, we can publish in Taja or other websites. So draw that whatever way. So if you Google it, you will find the beautiful pictures of these constellations anywhere. So take one constellation, like if you take this constellation, the bright star is a Deneb here. So what is the shape of it? What is the constellation name? What are the bright stars here? Like that, take one constellation and identify that and make it like a small project on that one. So that way you can learn the constellations. So this is very basic. So if you learn the constellations, then only you can find the stars and planets. Especially in the elementary school kids, you read several books about the planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Mars. You'll be get excited to see those beautiful pictures, right? but if you see them in the real sky, you'll find even more interesting. It's more interesting if you find them in the real sky. Sometimes, like Mars, it may not be as beautiful if you're in the sky with your naked eye, with your eye. It may not be that beautiful, but you will just like look at a red star, but you're looking at real Mars. It's not a picture. And then if you have a small telescope, then you can see those beautiful Mars surface, or the Jupiter moons, or the Saturn rings. You can see them. So this is a Mars, right? So as the day progresses, as the night progresses, like I will go from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning. So 4 o'clock in the morning, what is happening here in the east? You see Venus is coming, right? So you can see Venus, Mars is almost here, Jupiter, Saturn still there in the sky. So luckily, actually, Jupiter and Saturn, we call it opposition. It's exactly opposite to the, in the solar system, if you take the map, they are exactly opposite. So that's the reason they can be seen the whole night, Jupiter and Saturn. So very lucky to have them whole night, because sometimes if you want to see the Jupiter with a telescope, you can't find Jupiter because it changes in different seasons, right? So this is a good opportunity this season. You can see Jupiter and Saturn the whole night, and the Mars you can see, and the Venus in the morning. So Mercury. So almost 5 planets are here in the night sky. So it's a very good opportunity to see all the planets together. And the Uranus, Neptune are of course very far from us, so you can't see with your naked eye, or even with the small telescopes also you cannot see. So always these 4 planets and Mercury. Mercury is not here, but 4 planets: Jupiter, Saturn, Mars, Venus, and Mercury is always very close to the sun. So it's very hard to find Mercury. It will be just before sunrise or just before sunset. You can see, like I will see, there is Mercury. So
Brother, once you're done, like, I have a couple of questions from the kids here.
yes, okay, we'll go ahead. So yeah, you can see now all the 5 planets here. So Mercury is just, this is 5 o'clock in the morning, just before sunrise, Mercury comes. Venus is around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Mars will be here the whole night. Jupiter, Saturn are ready to set at 4 o'clock in the morning. So all the planets you can see in the night time. It's a very rare opportunity. Very rarely you'll get this opportunity, because sometimes Jupiter will be the whole daytime. If it is in the daytime sky, you can't see anything. Even with telescopes also, you can't see anything. Yeah. So the other Uranus and Neptune, we can't see, right? So this is a good opportunity. All the 5 planets we can see. Yes, you can go ahead.
Brother, question number 1. Based on where you go, will stars change their positions?
All stars will change, mostly all the stars. So it's dependent on various conditions. Look, in Jacksonville, this is the sky. So it will rise in the east and sets in the west. So every hour they will change. If you go to north, further north, New York, the Polaris will be somewhere here. And then some stars you will miss in southern. If you go to Greenland or Canada, the North Star will be here, like that. And if you go to equator, like a Singapore or some places, you can't see Polaris almost on the horizon, so you can't see that. So it changes on the position of on the where you are on the Earth, and also the seasons. Seasons also. The summer you have different constellations. Winter is different constellations. It's all because of the globe I showed, right? That's how where the Earth is there in that globe, you will have the different constellations and stars.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next question: how do constellations change?
Yes, same question. Like the constellation change. I mean, the stars are not changing technically. They all remain there. I show you a globe. If you want, I can show globe again. So I'll stop my screen share. Can you see this globe? Suresh, can you see? Yeah. So this is the globe. This is the celestial sphere. All above this white color sphere, we have the star names, star constellations. In the center, we are there in the Earth. So on the center on the Earth, where your position depending on that, this constellation. So these constellations will rotate. I mean, they will not rotate because Earth is rotating here. So Earth is rotating. Can you see the Earth rotating? In the center, it's rotating, right? Can you see? The Earth is rotating. So all these constellations appear to move from east to west like that. They will change. Yeah, this globe, I mean, it's hard to show in the video, but it's very good in the real class. I can show you very clearly. When we get a chance next time, I will show you. But yeah, this is how the Earth is moving. Then all the stars and constellation will move.
Next question: is there a time in a day when we can see all the planets?
So yeah, there also is there is no particular time because they're all changing. The planets are changing. Planet means, do you know? In the planet means wanderer. So the planets will change positions. I just show you in the screen share, right? So that's how the planets, all the planets will rise and set. It will changes. So this year, this season, like this couple of months now, we can see all the planets in the night sky.
Okay, the next one is when I see a shooting star, does the star die or does it get back up? Is that why there are so many stars to replace the dead star?
Shooting star is not a star. Shooting star, we call shooting star, but it's just a dust particle from some of our asteroids or comets. They broke into pieces, right? So they burn in the sky, and then they will look like a bright star, like a bright streak. It's just a imagine a small stone. If it's falling from the space, what happens? When it enters the Earth's atmosphere, it's coming with a huge velocity. It enters the atmosphere and then burns. So when it burns, you'll see that fire. So and it's almost before reaching the Earth, it will burn away. Sometimes they are so big that it will fall on the Earth and make a craters on the Earth. So if it's uh, big rock, it will make a big crater on the Earth. Sometimes you'll go and find that meteorite, the rocks also. But mostly there are tiny tiny stones. They will burn almost in the sky before it reaches Earth. So these are all particles, are the fragments from the asteroids or the comets. When they come close to the sun or close to the Earth, those particles will left over. So like there is a comet, when they come close, some particle is left over here, and that will go around the Earth every year. And then when Earth interact with that path of that debris, you can see those showers, meteor showers. So in the August next month, we can see Perseid meteor. You see this constellation here, right? This is Perseid, Perseus constellation. It's the shape of like a Y. So this is called Perseus constellation. So the meteors are meteors coming from that constellation appear like a meteor shower. We call Perseus meteor shower.
Well, those are the questions that we had, so
Yeah.
we can move forward.
Okay. I'll explain some planets. I'll show some planets here.
Keep the questions coming, kids. Those are some really good and interesting questions that you guys are asking.
Computer. Oh, my computer frozen. Can you hear me, Suresh?
Yeah, we can hear you.
But it's not able to share the screen. Um, You'll see the screen, right? Can you see my screen, Suresh?
No, sir.
We can only see you, not the screen.
Okay. Let's. Okay, I have some beautiful pictures. This is, you can see, can you see, Suresh?
Yes, sir.
So this is the annular eclipse. The solar eclipse we recently got, right? So recently in India, they saw this annular eclipse. Means the sun is all black here in the center and the only outer layer like this is appeared. This is called annular eclipse. This is not our regular solar eclipse. This is called annular eclipse. So this is coming to, I mean, we can see this annular eclipse again in US in 2023. Like in 3 years, you're going to see this annular eclipse, and 2024 we can see as total solar eclipse. I'm not able to move the screen. I don't know what happened. It's hang. So this is the diamond ring. During the total solar eclipse, we can see those diamond ring effect. So this is how the when solar eclipse time we see this. So in 2024 we are going to see this eclipse again.
We're not able to see that picture.
Screen.
We're still on the annular eclipse.
So it's not moving. 1 second, Suresh, can you go ahead? I'll take this call and then I think something frozen. I'll fix that. Yeah.
Okay. So some kids asked to see the pictures, right? So see the number of stars you can see here in this one. In the previous one, with your naked eye, you can only see about 4,000 stars, right? Like Bharat Uncle told. But if you see here, see this, this is the Milky Way galaxy, and you see the number of stars that you can you count all these stars? Probably these are in millions. So, and Bharat Uncle was talking to you guys about the Neowise comet, right? So this is the Neowise comet that you guys can see. You see this one, this area? This is the Neowise comet that can be seen on the Earth currently. If you miss seeing this, then you won't be seeing it for another 6,800 years. So those are the two pictures that I have that I could show you. Any other questions that you guys have while we wait for Bharat Uncle to come back?
Can you explain about the first picture?
Oh, that is the Milky Way galaxy. You know, we live in Milky Way galaxy, and this is only visible from March to July or March to October.
Did you take the picture in your own camera?
Yes. So it's only visible during the night. So you have to go to a place where there is no light. And then if you look up in the sky, you will see the Milky Way galaxy. Bharat Garu, if you're listening, you're on mute.
Yeah, can you hear now?
Yeah.
Okay. So any questions? Or, I mean, we can take some questions if you want to.
Now I was showing the kids about the gas Milky Way galaxy
Okay.
picture.
Picture. Okay.
Yeah, there is a question. When is the next solar eclipse?
Yeah, 2024, April 8th. So
2024.
yeah,
Okay.
2024, April 8th. So 4 years from now, we have a total solar eclipse in America. So it passes from Texas to Maine. So there are around 15 to 20 states. They say we can see this total solar eclipse. So from Florida, we can't see, but it's a great opportunity. We can go there and then watch. Last time from Jacksonville, around 15 to 20 families, we went to South Carolina and watched that eclipse. So this one is coming. So this time we have to go in at least in hundreds of people from, we can just go in a bus or something. We can plan and then go and watch. It's a great opportunity in your lifetime. It comes 1 or 2 times. That's all you can see. If you are lucky enough, you can see 2 eclipses, but very rarely it comes opportunity to see total solar eclipse. So I tell a lot of people, like, there are 4 things which you should not miss in your lifetime. The total solar eclipse, whenever you get an opportunity, watch that. And then the comet. So comet is now available. So I showed the constellation, the Ursa Major. If you find that Ursa Major, just below the Ursa Major in the night, evening times, after sunset, you can see that constellation, the comet. It's very easy to find. It will have a small tail and then a coma in the center. It's a small tail you can see. That's called comet or Tokachuka. We call in Telugu Tokachuka. You can see easily. And then the meteor shower. Whenever you get a meteor shower opportunity, watch that. You can see hundreds of meteors falling from the sky. They are called, just somebody asked, like, shooting stars. They are not stars, but just a falling debris from the sky, which burn in the sky and looks like a stream of light, that we call a shooting star, or the meteor shower, or in Telugu we call Ulkalu. So we can watch them. That's another thing. And then the fourth one is the auroras, the night lights. If you go to the poles near Canada or near North Pole, the Alaska, or even in the southern pole, Antarctica, you can see that beautiful lights, lights in the sky. So those are the aurora lights. You have to watch that in your lifetime at least one time. And the other things, Jupiter moons, Saturn rings, they are all visible in the, even with a small telescope. I usually arrange at the temple, I set up a telescope and show, but now it's because of COVID we can't do. But later, when you get an opportunity next year, we can arrange a telescope with a temple, and then you can come and watch those beautiful Saturn rings, Jupiter moons, or the moon's craters. Or even if you buy a small telescope, which is not an expensive, you can see those beautiful uh, things in the sky. And the Milky Way, just Suresh showed that meteor, the Milky Way, right? So that's a very beautiful. You have to see that. So if you go to a park where the lights are very less, like go to a state park where the light pollution is very less, you can see that Milky Way. So anything else, questions, anything?
When is the next meteor shower?
In the August, we have the Perseus meteor shower, but it depends on how the conditions, in the weather conditions. Sky should be clear, and the moon also should not be full. It should not be close to the full moon. Then we can see. But the meteors are very. Even if you go on in showers, means, I mean, you can expect like 10 to 15 or sometimes 10 to 100 meteors one night. But there are sporadic meteors. I mean, once in a while the meteors comes. We never know. Suddenly it appears in the sky. So that you can see always if you're watching the night sky. If you go to some park, do some camping and watch the night sky, you will get at least the whole night, at least you can see 1 or 2 meteor showers or the shooting stars. You can see.
Okay, there was a question. Are there any pics of the comet? I'm going to share my screen so that I can show you the picture of the comet.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead. I have the pictures, but some it's frozen my computer. I'm trying. But yeah, you can show, Suresh.
So this is the comet that Bharat uncle was talking about. So if you see this looks like a star, but it has a tail to it, where you can see that it's flying like So this is what a comet looks like from the Earth.
Yeah, it's actually when these comets are like called the dirty snowballs. They're like a snowball because they are far away from the Pluto. They are there like frozen for millions of years there, and then suddenly there is a push from some other star or something happens, and it will come close to the sun. What happens when it comes close to the sun? The ice in that comet, it melts, and it melts. So sun is this direction, right? So it melts the other way, and it will push that material, so it will look like a tail. So the sun, the frozen ice is melting when it comes to the sun, and that looks like a tail, like a tail. So we call this a comet. Once it go away from Earth and sun, it will again become a snowball, and then will go. So these comets are, there are some periodic comets, like they come every 70 years. The famous Halley's comet, it will come every 76 years. It will come back. There are other comets which like 2000 years or 1000 years, so they will come back after 1000 years. Some comets, they never come back. So each different comets have different orbits. Depending on that orbit, it will go. So yeah, Suresh told, like this is the tail, you can see clearly. And then the pictures, the sky, I think when Suresh took, I think is still very close to the sun rising, but if it is dark, you can see beautiful tail also, beautiful tail in those pictures.
So we can
Yeah.
go oh my gosh,
There are a couple of questions. I want to get them out so that which planets are most visible in summer and which are most visible in winter?
no one.
Bharadwara,
What's the question?
which planets are most visible in summer and which are most visible in winter?
Oh, it's not like that. I mean, it changes. It's nothing like that because these are all imagined. Solar system, you have the solar system map, right? So then the center, Earth, the sun is there, all the planets revolving. So depending on where it is, the planet, so it will be seen. So it changes. It's planets. You just have to follow that map or that app and see which stars will be seen. So it doesn't depend on the seasons, because some Earth is only just revolving around the sun in 1 year, right? So 1 year, but Jupiter makes 12 years. So in the whole year, it will be in the one constellation only. So that constellation may be in the daytime, then you can't see the whole that whole year. We can't see if it is in the daytime. So it
Next
depends.
question: how fast the shooting star hits the ground? Will people die if it hits?
No, it depends on that particle. Like all those debris, I said, these are the debris. Like if it is small stone, it almost burns. It most of the time, 99%, they will burn in the sky, and then it will not even reach the earth. Very rarely, once in a while, it's like our lightning. Very rarely it will come and hit the earth. So if it hit the earth, I mean, if the people are there at that place, they will die. But have you heard about the Arizona crater? There is a 1 mile diameter, 1 mile diameter big crater is there in Arizona near Phoenix. So that's called Arizona crater. So there is a big crater made. So by there are no craters on the Earth, and there, whereas on the Moon, you can see a lot of craters on the Moon, right? And you can see craters on the Mercury, but not on the Earth, because there is an atmosphere on the Earth which act like a blanket. So whenever all those debris comes to the Earth, they almost burn in the atmosphere, because of the friction it will burn. So by the time it reaches Earth's surface, it almost burn. That's why we are safe. We don't hit by those meteor shooting stars. But on the Moon, there is no atmosphere. It slightly comes and hits the moon's surface and makes the big craters. That's why you can see those lot of craters on the moon. Yeah, good question.
Some people believe that we should not go out during the eclipse due to negative energies.
No, there's nothing like negative energy. It's just a solar eclipse is just it's a shadow, because when Earth is coming in between moon and sun, actually moon is coming in between sun and Earth. The moon is making a shadow. We are going into the shadow. Imagine like a big flight is going on the sky. You can see, imagine a shadow, right? If you are in that shadow, you can't see the sun. Same thing, if a big moon is a big object and it makes a big shadow, if you are in that shadow, you can't see the sun. That's only happening. So scientists or the doctors say not to look at the sun, because it will damage your retina, your eyes. That's normal with even regular sun. Even today, if you go out and watch sun, look at the sun, your eyes will burn. So you should not look at the sun directly. You should need if you want to see sun through telescope, you need a filter. Or with the camera, if you want to take a picture, you need a filter before that camera. So you can't see the sun. That's why people say during eclipse time, everybody will be with anxiety, and they want to see the sun. So look at the sun, and you can damage. A lot of people damage their eyes because looking at the sun. So doctors say not to look at the sun. That's only a misconception. Nothing happens. Last time we have seen hundreds of people went out and then took the pictures, saw that it's the most beautiful thing to see in the sky. There are no energy or nothing energy, bad energy will be coming. Sunlight will always give that energy, but that energy will be cut down during that eclipse time. But still, it's powerful. That's why you should not look at until the totality comes. When it's total, like completely covered, then you can take off your filter. You can see with your eyes for 1 or 2 minutes, and then once it will go out of the shadow, you have to put back your filters. So it's safe to watch or go out into an eclipse time.
Okay. I think we are about 2 or 3, and we are just past 2 o'clock. So I think we will stop this class at this point of time. Kids, if you have any other questions or anything like that, please note them down and keep them for the next week's session. We'll have one more session like this. Some great questions that have been asked here, and I'm hoping that you guys are all learning from this class. Thank you, Bharat Garu, for this informative session. Last but not the least, I also wanted to thank Lata Garu here, who's our co-host on this call. I'm going to put her on spotlight here. Lata Garu, please go ahead and introduce yourself and say a few words.
Hello everybody, thank you all for attending the class today. I hope all the kids have enjoyed and learned something new today. Thank you Bharat Garu for accepting our invitation and request and coming over and showing us all these new cool things. So like Suresh Garu has said, if you all have any questions, please feel free to email those to us, and we will do our best to get the answers for you. Our next session of this astronomy class is on next Sunday, July 19th at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Also, we have upcoming art classes next weekend, which is on Saturday from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. and Sunday 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. So we are going to send out the instructions and the supply list for the art class this Monday to all the kids who have registered. So please watch out for those emails and be prepared with the supplies so you can enjoy the art class also. Thank you all.
So just before we end the class, if you guys want to know a lot more, or if you guys want to know about anything specific, please let us know, and we'll try to accommodate as much as possible. Thank you for attending, and thank you, Lata Garu, for sending all the communication to all the folks. We really appreciate it. Thanks, parents, for bearing with us. This is our first go around, so we'll learn from any mistakes if we have done anything. Thank you all.